Hey there, I'm Jenny T with SimpleSewingProjects.com, and welcome to another episode of Ask Jenny T. That's me, a sewing question. This is our Tuesday's Q&A. So if you have a question related to a sewing project or anything really sewing or DIY related, go ahead and send me a question to jennytsews@gmail.com. That's Jenny, Jenny, T, sews, sews at gmail.com. Ask me the question and I will answer it in a video or on the blog or directly to you, depending on what kind of question it is. So in today's question, I have, where'd it go? Oh, I know where it is. I know where it is. It's right here. All right. This is from Cecile. She says, "Hi Jenny, love all your ideas." Thank you very much. I love hearing that. I'm looking for a pattern to make my granddaughter, who is 4, a pillowcase dress. What can I use instead of ribbon to tie the top of the dress? Thanks. Okay, a pillowcase dress, for those who don't know, is an adorable little dress. It's usually designed for little girls, and it looks just like a pillowcase, except that it's obviously open for your legs. And the top, like if you basically did it flat, it looks like a pillowcase, but the top basically has a pocket that goes all the way around, and you put in typically a wide piece of ribbon or fabric, and you gather it so it's gathered right here, and it drops down, and then you tie it with little sleeves. You got a big ribbon bow here and a big ribbon bow here, and it's super, super cute, and it's perfect for little girls. And what a wonderful gift to make to receive from your grandmother. So what I commonly see is ribbon, for sure. Lots of different kinds of ribbon. Thin ribbon, big, wide, fancy ribbon. You typically want something that's going to be soft and silky so it doesn't rub on their skin because they get a little fussy. But there are other options. But I went looking and I didn't see a ton because ribbon is such a popular thing and you don't have to sew it, which is always nice. However, I saw a couple different things. So one of the things that I saw for a woman that, so a lot of women like to wear these things for like bathing suit cover-ups and for little nightgowns. Lace is an interesting option, although be careful again because you can buy the strips of lace, but if it's scratchy in the skin, your little girl's not going to want to wear it, so you got to be really, really careful. The other thing you can do if you want to get a little fancy is to get some really nice silky ribbon, and then you can top stitch the lace on top of the ribbon, and you have a little bit of a fancier, more grown-up feel, and she might think that's really special. Another thing you can do, and honestly this is probably the go-to that I would use, is strips of fabric. So so you're going to laugh. I sew, right? And I have a sewing blog, but I don't have any fabric because I moved recently and I got rid of a lot of stuff. So I don't have fabric to demonstrate what I'm going to show you. So I have paper. So go with it, okay? I'm going to reach over here. Okay. You'll get it. It's just paper. Pretend it's fabric. So pretend this is fabric, okay? So one of the things you can do is just sew strips of fabric. And I have 2 different ways that I like to do this. And that's kind of fun too because you get kind of fun, funky fabrics, and it's much less expensive, I think, than ribbon. So this is an option for you. So the most common way to do this is that, let's just say you wanted to make a 1-inch wide strip, okay? You would get fabric you would cut a strip of fabric that is 2.5 inches wide by however long you need. So you're going to need to get a piece of yarn or a tape measure and measure how long you're really going to want that. And then what you do is you take your fabric that you've cut, you're going to take it to the ironing board, always press, and you're going to fold it in half, right sides together. Okay, so this is the wrong side facing out, right side's in the center. Okay, you're going to take a 1/4 inch seam allowance, stitch across the top, and all the way down the length. Okay, and then you're going to need to get something to stick in there and pull out to turn it right side out. That's the kind of a pain in the neck. And there's lots of little tricks you can do to do this. I've actually put a safety pin on the inside of the strip before I sewed it, with a string attached to it hanging out the end. So once I sewed it in, I had enough where I could pull it and work it to pull it right side out, because those little tubes of fabric can be a real pain in the neck, okay? So that's one option. You can also just take a pencil on one side and kind of push it through. My favorite cheat, especially if it's something that's not supposed to be high-end, okay, is to cut a piece of fabric that is 4 times what you want. So let's pretend again that you're making a 1-inch strip of fabric. You would cut a piece of fabric that is 4 inches wide. Take it to the ironing board and press it in half, unfold it, and then press each end in. Now this time the right sides of the fabric are facing out. You're folding the fabric wrong sides together. Okay, so you're going to be folding this fabric. I'll show you in a second. Okay, so it looks like this. Okay, so you've folded it in half, unfolded it, folded the ends in, and pressed really, really well. Okay, then you're going to fold it in one more time, like this. Okay, so it's 1 inch, it's folded, and then you're going to stitch along the top 1/4 inch, and then right along the folded edge all the way down and around. This is a great cheat when you don't feel like turning anything right side out. Now here's the thing. Actually, let me back up one thing. Before you go and start folding this, take your short end and fold it down about 1/4 to 1/2 of an inch. Okay, so your top edge looks more like this, and then do your folding. That was really step 1. Hope you didn't sew anything. Because that way your raw edge is tucked inside there and you don't have that raw edge. And then you can sew along the very, very edge of this thing. To do this successfully on your sewing machine, what I like to use is the zigzag foot. And I move the needle all the way over to the edge so that the presser foot is giving most of the support so that your fabric doesn't get shoved into the hole of your plate. It's kind of a pain in the neck, okay? One more thing you could do, and it's a different look, and it actually could be a lot of fun, is to just go ahead and cut an inch wide strip of fabric. Let it all be raw on both sides. And then take an overlock stitch, okay, with an overlock foot, and just do an overlock stitch all the way along the edge. It's kind of like a serger, but a little not so nice, not as nice. And just do an overlock stitch along all the raw edges. And what will happen is you can do it like in a contrasting thread if you want, or you can just do complementary so it's not as visible, and you get more of a rough, edgy look, a little bit more of a country look, and that could be really cute too. So that's really fast. So again, if you're trying to save some money and reuse your fabric, that's a great way to create strips that you can do to tie your big bows onto your onto your dress. The other thing that I've seen is if you're ambitious, is to sew on ruffles. So you would sew some more fabric and you would sew ruffles along your outer edges of each of your sleeves so that you've got some really fun ruffles there. That's a little bit more work. I'm not going to really explain how to do that now because all I've got is paper, but you could do that too. So I hope that gives you some ideas. And if anybody else out there has any more ideas on what you can use instead of ribbon for a pillowcase dress, go ahead and post in the comments and let me know, and that way other people can benefit from it too. I hope you've enjoyed this. I'm Jenny T with SimpleSewingProjects.com, and I will see you in another video. Take care.